Good morning and welcome to the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. Hope you're doing well today. It is Wednesday here on the show. We Team Wednesday, and I say let them eat cake. Specifically, let them eat almond cake. So today is my team sprint planning day. And I know I still got the music on. The headset fell off. So it is what it is. And so I baked them a cake. I talked about this before. I used an 80-year-old recipe for almond cake out of this book. So it's 80 years old because it was written 1940. You can see the stovetop stains from when it sat on the stove or burnt on the stove. It's pretty cool. Anyway, I brought this up before. So I'm going to share. Oh, hold on. Let's see if we do. I got to take the earpieces off here, which is fine because it's really not needed. And I got Bubbles here. I have to watch out. Bubbles is eyeing up this cake. So this is the cake. Let me see if I can do this. This is the cake. It's an almond cake. Very simple. It's just got crushed almonds in it, some raisins, and just basic cake baking ingredients. So I'm going to slice that up in small pieces. Bring it to the team so they can have it. I'm not bringing the whole cake as a whole because I don't want to bring a steak knife into the office. Weapons. But that's the plan. So I'm going to share that with teams. So sharing things with teams and breaking food together is a great way to have them build a connection with each other. And I want to talk about that. I'm also going to talk about a little bit of reflection on differences from yesterday because I had a not fun experience the other day with my team. I'm not going to go into details. It's not too bad though, but we'll talk about that. Anyway, it's 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show. Hope you're doing well. Here we talk about Scrum and Agile in a very practical and tactical way. So you can bring value to your customers, not work crazy hours, bring that value to your customers and have a little fun along the way. And as I talked about today, made a recipe out of this cookbook. I'll talk a little bit about that. Another example of fine programming. And trying to figure out what the heck they coded in the 80 years ago when they wrote the cookbook. So I'll share little tidbits of that, but also just sharing food with teams. Some may be a bah humbug and we don't want to bond as a team, but it does help when people get to know each other a little bit better, what they're doing, things they have to be mindful of in their lives, that they become better teammates, better coders, better product delivery people, right? And because they know what to do and it gets faster. The whole idea is to make things faster. The better you know someone, the faster it works. It's like having two people do pair programming, or let's say a plumber and their assistant, or plumber and someone that helps them out. When the plumber is looking for a crescent wrench or a wrench, they just put their hand out and the assistant just gives them the wrench. They know what they want because they know what they're doing. Same idea with getting better known as a team. So all I did was two things discovered today. The cake. I talked about the cake a little bit. Got to keep animals away. They all think they're getting a piece of the cake, and I'm like, you're not getting a piece of the cake. So it wasn't very hard. It took me an hour and a half to bake the cake. Took me about a half hour to make everything together, the ingredients and stuff like that. So it wasn't too bad. A couple things in the recipe though. One moment they call things milk. Next thing they call it cream. And I'm like, do I need cream or do I need milk? And I just chose milk. So I just used whole milk in the recipe and just went with it. And then what was the other thing? Oh, it said mix that you wanted to cream the butter. So I creamed the butter and it said slowly pour in the milk and the sugar in with the butter, I think, something like that. Or just slowly pour the milk in with an egg, 4 whole eggs. So I did that. I think they meant use half the milk and save the other half for later on. And what I did is I mixed all the milk into it and made it a little bit more difficult, but it didn't clarify because you got to read the whole thing and understand what they're doing. It's like, okay, they're asking for milk twice. There's only one indication of how much milk to use. So probably have to split the helping of the milk, but they didn't write that down in the instructions. So this is the kind of thing where you get people code other things. This is why you want people to code together so they get an understanding if they forget something in the recipe or in the code or in the documentation. Someone else has an understanding of why and how they got where they got to. So a couple things like that, just like coding normal things that the recipe didn't have. Um, and I thought it would be nice. I promised them before I was going to bake them a chocolate cake, and then someone said, "Do you ever made an almond cake?" So I said, "What the heck? I'll make an almond cake." So I made it for. So this first time I ever made the almond cake. It actually tastes good. It's an 80-year-old cake recipe, so it's not all light sugary stuff you buy from the store. It's more like it's kind of like a coffee cake slash banana bread because it has almonds and raisins in it, but not enough. And I did put a little almond extract in it just to try to give it a little more almond flavor because I didn't think that just putting almonds in it would really give it that almond like flavor like you have an almond coffee cake. So I put a little bit extract. I probably could have done 52 a half a teaspoon of vanilla and a half a teaspoon of almond flavoring in there. And I kind of split because it asked for 4 and I made it 2 and 2. Anyway, so share with the team. It's just a way that, people take the time to make something that they made for themselves, for their teammates. It shows a little bit that you do care about them. You want to try and make them happy. I did test it on my son, who's very picky. He said it was good. He didn't. My daughter didn't have any though. She asked me, "Did you make it?" She didn't have it though. But it was my first almond cake. Didn't turn out too bad. I was a little worried. I'm gonna slice it all up because there is one spot in there that I'm gonna look up. But from a different perspective, lesson learned from yesterday kind of got me into a bah humbuggy mood. People. Some people on the team will say, "I want my privacy, and I don't want to share anything about myself." So, they'll try to make the whole team not share anything about themselves to get a little closer, and they'll make an issue of it. You have to be mindful of what you're asking for, what you're sharing. Where you could have a one team is perfectly fine. Everybody shares things and they talk about where they went on vacation, family pictures, baking, recipes, whatever. And in the office, you develop that rapport. Not so sure in this whole remote workplace that you get that rapport as much anymore. But you have to be mindful asking the team, is it okay to share? Right. And that's one thing I kind of dropped the ball on the other day about asking people about vacations and where they plan for PTO. And it's kind of important to ask permission. But I will say this though, sometimes you just got to do it. And some people are not going to be happy and some people are unhappy. You don't take away all the fun from the team just because one person's not happy. You can meet with them and try to help them out and say, well, you know what? Be yourself then, because I personally believe a happy team is a more productive team. A grumpy team's not going to help each other, and all they can do is bitch and moan about everything on the planet anyhow. So if you're a little bit enjoying what you do, enjoying being with your people, it makes it easier to make it through the day when people change things up, which they're bound to do. So anyway, I want to share that with you on We Team Wednesday. Being mindful of different people. You might have to ask permission about sharing personal things, or asking people to share personal things. Try not to get into a real personal thing like, oh, you went in the hospital. Well, what did you have? And share it with the whole team. No, that's not what you do. But you have to be mindful and respectful, but to a point, and understand where the team's trying to get to and things like that. So some people don't understand it. You'd be surprised how many people don't understand the team building aspect of it and the getting people closer and how they become more productive people because they've never been anywhere else but the place they're in. So it can be very tough when you're doing a transformation and having people work as a team versus a bunch of individual people really slow. So with that, I want to wish you all a great Wednesday. Thinking about teams, baking a recipe. I just think it's so cool to pull recipes out of this 80-year-old cookbook and share them with the team. So that's what I was doing. And I want to wish the best, happy scrumming. And we will see you tomorrow. Wish me luck on the cake. They don't eat it. I'll eat it because actually it's pretty good. It actually turned out good. All right. Take care, everyone. You have an awesome day and enjoy. And if you want the recipe, maybe I'll put the recipe up for the almond cake. And what I did change it up a little bit, though. So take care. Have fun. Enjoy. See ya.